We have some major breaking news as Judge Kenneth Bell has ordered the non-suing teams who signed the charter agreement to provide financial information for the lawsuit for 2011 and Front Row versus NASCAR. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. As I just said, we got some pretty massive and major breaking news this early afternoon as it has been reported that Judge Kenneth Bell has ordered the non-suing teams in this case to provide the financial information in the manner that they have been required to provide to NASCAR and also for the case as well. Here was reported by Bob Pockers. Judge Kenneth Bell has ordered the non-suing teams to provide the financial information in the manner that those teams had offered to provide to NASCAR. NASCAR wanted more detail from each team. Only attorneys and their experts can view it. So here's the financial thing that Kenneth Bell had put in. 1. On or before noon on June 27, 2025, NASCAR and the teams shall jointly select an independent accounting firm that serves as a neutral party to facilitate the production of anonymized information. In the events the parties are unable to select an accounting firm, they should each suggest one name in the court by the deadlines. 2. As soon as reasonably practicable, as the teams committed to do at oral argument, each of the non-party racing teams must separately provide to the chosen accountant its annual top-line financial data, total revenue, total costs, and net profits losses, or on an anonymized average per car basis for each year dating back to 2014. Sponsorship income must be included by the teams as part of the total revenue. To provide the production of irrelevant information, the teams are required to make a good faith effort to limit the financial information provided to operations associated with fielding full-time cars in the Cup Series. For example, revenue, expenses tied to ancillary business lines, or non-Cup Series racing activities should not be produced. 4. The accountant should be directed to confidentially produce to NASCAR, but not to the non-party teams, a spreadsheet listing the per-car annual averages for each team without identifying the teams associated with each set of numbers. The document must include a highly confidential attorney's eye-only designation to also permit use by NASCAR's and plaintiffs' experts. Finally, number 5. The cost of the accountants shall be borne by NASCAR. Otherwise, all parties must bear their own expenses, including attorney fees. Now, there's one team that was not mentioned part of the other 12 teams, and that is College Racing. College Racing is the only organization that did sign the charter agreement that has already provided their financial information, which I believe includes driver contracts and annual money they've made over the course of the last couple of years. Now, some things do need to be noted. This is a slight win for the teams. It's not a complete loss for the teams in general that are non-suing. Because NASCAR wanted a lot more than just what was put there. They wanted how much were the driver contracts, how much the drivers are making for each team. They don't want that in the public. They didn't want the engineer side of things brought up. I also don't believe that the stuff around Garage 56 and other things kind of associated with that, which Hendrick Motorsports, how much they spent on Garage 56, they don't want that put out in the public over the course of the last 11 years. What this means is they don't want driver contracts made public for people to kind of see and other teams to see. They don't want Joe Gibbs Racing to be able to go look at and see how much Kyle Larson is making at Hendrick Motorsports or what Chase Elliott is making at Hendrick Motorsports, or Hendrick Motorsports, for example, basically sharing their information and seeing how much like Christopher Bell is making at like Joe Gibbs Racing or Denny Hamlin is making at Joe Gibbs Racing currently at the moment. Or for example, for like not 2311, but for example like Trackhouse Racing, other teams like Joe Gibbs Racing, for example, don't want to see like Shaman Gisbergen's money, or RFK doesn't want to see that money for that matter. They don't want that information available to the public because they said during their hearing yesterday, they said it was going to be catastrophic if all the information came out. And same thing goes for the sponsorship as well. So I'm glad to see that Judge Kenneth Bell is not letting every little bit of information come out. Now, some of the information is going to be required for them to see. But I have to think that if we're going to be allowing the non-suing teams and telling the non-suing teams that they have to open their books in this case, then I think that NASCAR at some point, they're going to have their books open. And I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with this case going forward, because it seems like we're getting into that discovery process, and as more information continues to be leaked out and more information continues to be available really, really soon, I think a lot of things are going to be brought out. I think a lot of skeletons are going to be brought out of the closet, and if you're NASCAR, you probably should be concerned. In general, I think this is a slight win for the teams because they're not providing all that information. And all the other teams that signed the charter agreement, like Cog Racing, like RFK Racing, like Trackhouse Racing, like Hendrick Motorsports, like Team Penske, like Joe Gibbs, they don't want to provide all the information available to the teams. They really don't want to be part of this lawsuit. I thought there'd be a chance maybe they would join the lawsuit, but it's been confirmed multiple times now that all these organizations that signed the charter agreement, they don't want anything to do with this lawsuit at this point. They want to back away from it. They don't want to be involved, and they really don't even want to share the information that they're being required to share with to begin with. But we've also got some other stuff with IndyCar around that as well. We'll talk about short in the future. But there is just a lot of this information that is going to be coming out, and it seems like we had a little bit of downtime in regards to this lawsuit. But as we get farther into the year and farther into the season, I think a lot of stuff is going to be revealed. We're also still waiting on what's going to happen with the appeal in regards if the whole circuit appeals, not just the 3 judges that heard it originally, but all 15 judges that are part of the 4th Circuit appeals, including Kenneth Bell. We're waiting to hear if there's going to be talk about those charters the teams had for 2011 in Front Row Motorsports. There still has not been a decision made at this point. So as of right now, those teams should be good for Atlanta Motor Speedway and also for Chicago as well. If a hearing is had, we'll basically have a set date probably later in the year, and they'll be able to keep their charters at least for the foreseeable future, which isn't shocking and surprising. They're appealing it at this point. In a nutshell, though, when I look at something like this, I think, again, it is a slight win for those teams that didn't want to sue. They don't want to, again, reveal all the information they have. Again, they're required to have some of the sponsorship information revealed, which is stuff that they agreed to share. They agreed to some certain things that they wanted to share, but they don't want to reveal all the information that they have in regards to how much they're paying for the contracts, all that kind of stuff at this moment, and I think, especially for other people as well. I think that this, again, I think this lawsuit is going to get more and more interesting as time progresses and goes on, and I think a lot of things are going to be continuing to get revealed. We're probably going to have updates on this lawsuit like every week, it seems like, and I think it's going to be a daily process to see what happens throughout it. I'm interested for the court date because the court date is still set for December. Judge Kenneth Bell has stated publicly, though, multiple times that he wants this whole thing to go to a settlement, and he wants that to happen. Do I think we're going to see a settlement with this whole lawsuit in general? No, I don't think so. I know the teams that are involved, like 2011 and Front Row, they have been open to settling with NASCAR. But NASCAR says they'd be open to settling, but they want to do it on their own terms. The teams like 2011 and Front Row, they want a little bit more money, I believe, but I don't think money's the only thing they're looking for. They're wanting a lot of things like tracks in like competition side of things, like IndyCar being allowed to run at like the ISC tracks that NASCAR owns and letting those tracks be opened up and maybe making ISC go away at this point or giving ISC back to its own ownership group instead of basically NASCAR having full control over it at this point, among other things as well. To me, I think there's going to be a lot more stuff that's going to be revealed as time progresses and goes on, but I don't think this is a complete loss for the teams at this point. I think that the teams do have at least, again, I think there's been so much ebbs and flows with this. I think that both sides, NASCAR's got some things that they don't have fully going right for them with this lawsuit, while I think the teams also at this point don't have everything going right as well at this point. So we'll see what happens in regards to the rest information as time progresses and goes on, but the non-suing teams that don't want to be part of the lawsuit are required to reveal some financial information, but are not required to share some of the other stuff, like stuff around the charters and also how much there are for the contracts, among other things. So we'll see for more information and expect more of that to come out as time progresses and goes on over the course of the next couple of weeks and days. So that is going to be today's special breaking news report on the non-suing teams required to share some financial information. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's get more of that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. Do you think that the team should be required to share their financial information on some of the stuff they wanted to share or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And what do you see in regards to the outcome of the lawsuit going forward? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I think there's going to be Xfinity Series race picks dropping later today for the race at Atlanta. Tomorrow, we're going to have Cup race picks for Atlanta for the Quaker Save 400. We also should have the paint scheme video dropping as well. And then, of course, on Saturday, we'll have the Xfinity race review on Friday. Saturday, we'll have the Cup Series race review from Atlanta. And we also have other content dropping, like a silly season predictions for 2026. I'm going to do another one of those probably on Sunday. We're also going to have content on people like Haley Deegan, Shane Gisberg, Cards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez, Ryan Preece, Sam Sam Mayer, Sheldon Creed, Haas Factory Team, also other things like, I don't know, maybe Cletus Farron, Dodge, and Ram. We'll be talking about all that kind of stuff on the channel in the coming days and weeks as time progresses and goes on. There's a lot of content dropping. I did my predictions for the in-season tournament yesterday. If you haven't checked it out, I suggest you do. There's going to be a lot of fun and good stuff dropping on the channel soon that I cannot wait for you guys to check out, like Red Bull, Connors Village, all that good stuff. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.